Good afternoon, and welcome to Create Your Own Forest, a place for art of all shapes and sizes, types, colors, and mediums. Today we're getting back into it with continuing Poppy Night. You can see that I actually have my video cam on today. So welcome. For the next 20 minutes or so, we're gonna hang out and continue this art piece. So last time we finished up the pre-line art. So I've said before, I work in a sketch, a pre-line art sketch, and then I go on to the line art. So we're gonna dull this down a little bit more, but I do want to keep it visible because there is these background elements that we didn't transfer onto the pre-line art, and then we're gonna fade out the pre-line art here. We're gonna go with a nice deep black, and that's just because as we move on to line art and then coloring in the future, I will lock that line layer and we can color it any way we want or modify the layer any way we want. I think we're gonna stick with probably just about 3 pixel brush. I like to do my line art a little bit smaller. But we'll kind of stick with the same pre-line art gist as we put it together. So I hope everybody's having a lovely day today. I am frankly quite tired. Long day at work. I guess we can start with that. My company, the company that I work for as a quality engineer, goes through a audit. I'm not doing so hot at this curve right now, am I? The company that I work for goes through an audit every year, a medical device company, and we do this adjacently from something like the FDA or another regulating body. It's something that we outsource, and we have someone come in and do every year. One, it lessens the likelihood the FDA would feel the need to follow up on the company, but more importantly, it helps us get better at risk management, taking a look at the quality of our products, and pretty much it helps us simulate what an actual audit would look like. Now, for me, that means pulling lots of documents and any records the auditor wants to see, helping those get all set. And it is, for me, at the end of the day, a lot of staring at computers. Like a lot of staring at computer all day. So one of the things that I do, I always wear blue light glasses during audit week. Typically, it takes a whole week to do the audit. Typically wear blue light glasses whether they are a hoax or not. Even if they're a placebo, I find that I don't get as bad a headache if I'm wearing blue light glasses. And at the end of the day, I know I'm not wearing them right now, and I'm obviously doing digital art, but I find that at the end of the day, especially when I'm working, if I do go ahead and wear those blue light glasses, I don't have the same tension headache that I might find myself with beforehand. So that's kind of the gist of my day today with the audit. But back to line art and Poppy Night in general. I know episode 1 we tried to come up with a story for him and why he was laying down. Did just some basic sketching, trying to figure out who is he, what does he want, how do we want line placement, things like that. And right now we're going in and we're actually doing line art. You'll see I do erase a lot. I am really honestly taking my time more than I do with other pieces. And making sure the lines are pretty deliberate. So he has these like grates here that he sees through, and these lines above and below are really just the guidelines for it. If I remember correctly, these will not stay fully in the final piece. And the sketch is really meant to clean up the last two layers that we've been working on. As we go into coloring on the next layer, you'll see it's pretty evident I do tend to color inside the lines, at least until I'm starting to finish up rendering. And then at that point, if there are any parts of the line art that I don't feel are serving kind of the vibe of the piece, then I'll go ahead and delete those or make them shaded so that they don't interfere with the overall scene. And I've had some people tell me that the way that I color things is very similar to acrylic, or actually had somebody recently tell me it's pretty similar to oils, which is funny because I've only worked with oil paints once in my life and I didn't have a proper medium for them, so I ended up using a lot of oil paint. But yeah, poppy night, chilling and field flowers. I wish that the armor would be like, in my head, the armor that Poppy Knight is wearing is comfortable and doesn't bother this guy as he's laying in a field. But I know logically that this would be pretty uncomfortable at the end of the day. Having your face fully encased in metal, I'm not sure. Somebody maybe could tell me in the comments if they're watching. Was there padding like inside the helmet? I figure there would be similar. The closest thing I could imagine is like horseback riding. I would figure there's some sort of padding within. Sorry, I don't mean to put myself out of the view of the camera here, but I do tend to like cock my head to the side here. You can see in the back on this side, I do have an acrylic art piece, which I kind of owe a coworker. I agreed that I would paint her dog because she had seen me seen what I painted for my older sister who was getting ready to have a baby, and she requested the Hogwarts castle over 3 panels in acrylic paint. And I had shown my coworker, and she asked if I could draw her dog, and I said yes, like a fool, because of course she wanted it on it looks small in the back, but I promise you it is almost a bigger piece, bigger canvas than I am. Granted, I am pretty small, but I don't think I've ever painted on a canvas that big, but that is what she requested. And she's one of the people who helped onboard me and helped me learn a lot. So I feel like it would be kind of nice to give her that piece. Other pieces I would plan on doing for my coworkers. My manager, who has been a godsend, such a lovely person. She loves the color pink, and I think it would be great if I could do like a rose piece for her. I think it would look gorgeous either in her office, or obviously she could do whatever she wants with it. She could take it home, but she has her own office with her own door that she can lock. She's, one of the higher ups. But I don't think she really has it decorated all that much, in my opinion. She's got a picture of her family and things like that, but not some color. Whereas everybody who's kind of like on my level, in terms of like the hierarchy, who share my job title and similar function, we all have our offices like decked out in our personalities, mine has a lot of my artwork that I've done. It has also, I think, a bunch of acrylic pieces that I've done so far, like in the past. I would like to add to that count. Ideally, I haven't done a lot of acrylic painting, but I did just recently-ish buy a lot of acrylic paint. I feel like I could use that to my advantage. What else do I have in my office? I have a poster and a bunch of postcards from the national parks that I've gone to visit. But I do just have like a lot of art. So as I'm drawing this next little bit of the of Poppy Night, this part I was a little apprehensive about. You can see if I zoom in enough, obviously it looks pretty pixelated, but the piece as a whole, once you zoom out and get the full picture, it looks pretty good. I've never really been great here at drawing chains. You can see I'm pretty confident in how I like to draw fur. That's something that came easily to me. Partly why I'm painting a pet back there. I've always felt okay at least drawing the fur pets. Did a lot of work on my own pets, on other people's pets. But chains is not something that I've really been experienced in. It's also not really something that many people would need to be experienced in. Off the top of my head, I can't think of... I mean, unless you're like thinking of like a leash, for example, for if you're doing like an animal study. I can't really... leash or a collar, I can't really think of a reason that you'd really need chains. But I think it would be good for me to branch out and try and do some things that I haven't done before. And I do apologize for the lighting. Just starting out doing YouTube more for fun than anything. A place to hang out. A place for other people to hang out too if they want to. I don't have any sort of specific lighting, but I do look a little bit more put together than last time, which was actually yesterday. And I think it was yesterday. I could be losing my mind. And my apartment looks way more put together than when I last filmed, so I felt okay putting my camera on today. So yeah, that's why my camera's on today. So I'm continuing to draw these chains. And I like how they're coming out so far. I am having to use like 110% of my brain power though to figure out, how exactly these are going to sit. And to follow, I want with my line art, I feel like a lot of the time I lose the dynamicism and pressure that I'll keep throughout the sketch and the pre-sketch. That's why oftentimes if I'm doing a quicker piece that I don't really care about looking super sleek, I'll color right on top of the, what I would call for this piece the pre-line art, because it does retain a little bit more of that energy. I feel I haven't quite been able to make sure that I retain the energy that I want to when I finish out my line art. And that's something hopefully I can continue to work on and hone. But for now, we'll go through and do the full line art for this piece, because the only way I'm going to get better is if I keep doing it. The only way any of us are going to get better is by doing that. So I don't think I just made a random line. You see, looks a lot more put together. Finally starting to hone in on a lot of the details. And I know I just moved the canvas around like crazy, but ultimately for these, I do want them to be relaxing. I don't want to jump around like too much like that. Sometimes unavoidable. I can't always see exactly, where this piece on the side is. It's only a slightly lighter gray on my tablet screen. The tablet screen itself, I use a Wacom Draw. Yeah, it's the cheapest Wacom for that has a screen. When I first got into drawing digitally, I had an Intuos Draw that was gifted to me. And it was difficult to learn how to draw with a trackpad. I'm gonna be totally honest. The learning curve for trying to learn how to draw here, like down in front of you while also paying attention to your screen, means all of my concentration was focused into drawing, which, it should be anyway, but it wasn't like I could do something like this format with the actual Intuos Draw, or Wacom Draw lets me like hang out essentially. I do want to put into lineart these larger folds that kind of originate from this area and across the chest here. Yeah, there's the fur covering there. And then we'll move on to this part of the breastplate. But yeah, so I am on an Intuos Draw, and I do really like it. One of the little feet here broke. Usually I'll kick both of them out and I'll draw like at an angle so I'm not like completely flat. One of the feet, however, did break right here. See all my stickers? So I am drawing kind of flat. I have the tablet propped up right on my laptop right now. I have, honestly, something that I probably should have put on the pre-sketched layer was kind of an outline of the flower. But thinking about it now, I think it's going to be pretty busy without the knight holding a flower in his hands. I think it might just be better to leave it blank. It is something that is minor enough. If I need to add it later or feel that it is still necessary, I can still go in and add it. So I think this comes out of the side here. One of the things that I've kind of started to learn is to try to keep away from drawing like tangents or things that like blend in directly. So you can see when I first drew this line here, instead of drawing straight up and connecting it here, makes it more flat. If I draw like down here and curve it a little bit, like on this side, like it was in the pre-line art, it looks a little bit more layered. There's a little bit, you can see in this fur right here. It looks a little more layered. It looks like it's actually underneath something. And it looks like they're actually like wearing clothes rather than just, existing. So I just realized that the way that this guy's laying, you would not be able to see part of that. It's not really a pauldron. I don't know what the shoulder armor is called. Somebody can maybe correct me. But you would not be able to see it in this point of view. So I'm going to put gentle lines here just to guide my coloring later. And oftentimes I will kind of keep that line art. I don't ever truly get rid of my line art when I draw, at least currently. Maybe in the future I will, but as it sits right now, I'm pretty content to leave it as is. And then we start getting into this like cloth gauntlet that he's got on right now. I don't know if we'll get to the hands today since we're rounding out 20 minutes here. But I think this has been a little bit more of a cohesive episode. And I've enjoyed spending time with you all today. So, yeah. Easy if I come out and then put this there. We really haven't done that much once you zoom out. Maybe we have, but it has been another 20 minutes. So in total, we've spent, an hour and 20 on this piece together. It's been a good adventure so far. I feel like taking the time is letting me be better with this piece. Maybe I'll do longer episodes, since typically I'll sit down and bang out a piece in 2 hours. I think I'll probably spend closer to 3 hours on something like this. But I don't know for sure at this point in time. And we'll try and finish out more of the line art next time, and try to maybe start putting in flat colors. I don't think we'll get that far. The other thing that I think I do want to work on for myself is that and you can tell I do it in this piece too, all of my line art is super detailed. Like, honestly, this right here, through the hands, just right here, everything that's on screen over here could be a piece in and of itself. I usually have a lot of detail up near the head and not a lot like down lower. So I don't know if we want to add in like some things to kind of distract, but I know that I can kind of maybe move the buckler or the sword to kind of point toward the head, since that is where a lot of my detail is. That's something, as we finish out the line art, we can make a decision on what ultimately we're going to focus on in this piece. Since I do kind of want this chest and like the head that's obscured, but like the hands and the chest to be more of the focus area, to have probably more like the midsection of this guy to be more of the focus. So perhaps we'll stick with how it is. We'll see. I might figure out a better way to present that in this piece. But for now, next time we'll finish out the hands and continue on with the line art. We've made some pretty good progress here today. Thank you for joining me, and if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.